talking about, I just want to take a minute and introduce myself and kind of tell you, I guess, my teaching style so that y'all know I like interaction. So feel free if you've got questions. I'm so used to teaching in our actual market center and having people and having interaction and conversation is very much my style. So if y'all have questions or anything, just interrupt me, jump in. I'm not a fancy regional person who has an assistant sitting next to me reading comments, so I may not always see those when I get to talking. But before we get started, I would love to hear a little bit about your market center. Are most of the agents full-time, part-time, or anybody have buyers agents? Because I'm gonna kind of mix all that into conversation, but definitely want to gear this towards y'all specific needs.
So we have a lot of individual agents. We have a lot of dual career agents, and we just got our first mega team, and then we have a couple of spouse teams. And so that's kind of where we're at right now. Majority single agents.
Okay. Now, I see we've got some agents on here. So the agents that are on, I would love to hear like your goal. Are any of y'all wanting to do teams, or are you just kind of getting your feet wet in real estate? If y'all would, I would love to hear a little bit about where y'all want to go. I'm gonna have to get some raised hands.
I'll start. Hi, how are you? I'm Carol.
I'm great. How are you?
Doing great. Well, like I'm just really getting started. I'm a few months in, and so I'm one of those that's getting their feet wet, but I am full time. I'm not dual.
Okay, awesome. All right.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Delana. Yes, I'm same way, just as Shakiro. Been in a few months, new agent. I'm a dual career agent, so kind of trying to balance everything.
What's your other career?
I was working with the National Guard. I'm a program supervisor.
Awesome.
But I'm looking to build and grow in this to establishing and creating a legacy in real estate. So I'm looking to go pretty deep, pretty far in this.
Okay. Awesome. Anybody else?
Cherie is on the chat box and she says, hello, everybody. I've been in officially 2 days and I am part-time.
Awesome. I love it. All right. Well, to get us going, I'm going to tell y'all a little bit about myself first and how I guess I got hooked up with Katie to even bring y'all this class. So my name is Delana Rowe. I'm with the Great Group at Keller Williams here in Tuscaloosa. We have been named the top Keller Williams sales team the last 2 years in the state of Alabama, and we are fighting really hard to keep that position. Our team, we closed 349 sides last year, a little over 70 million. So our market center, our average price point for last year when we closed out was around 222, and it kind of varies. It bounces between like 185 and 230 each year. So we were on the high side, obviously being in a seller's market. Our team, so we are a husband-wife team. Trisha and Jason Gray, they came over. Trisha's been in real estate for 16, 17 years. This past year, she stepped in as our operating principal for the market center here in Tuscaloosa. And she was our director, kind of running the team and everything else. And Jason was really handling a lot of buyers, sellers, and we've really grown from that core husband-wife team to a team of, I think, I have to count every day how many people we have now. I think we've got around 15 total. We've got 10 full-time buyers agents, I should say. Trisha only works sellers. She only does listings. And Jason, this year, his goal has been to give off all of his buyers and for him to only work listings as well. Part of our dynamic with us being in the University of Alabama town, we actually are that niche group that does condos here. That's a big part of our market. It is our lead buyers agents. It's his specialty. out of everybody on our team, 4 of us have in the past done full-time property management. So we really understand how an HOA component works. And so that's become a niche for us. And some of us really love it. And then some of my other agents are like, nope, you can have the condo. So I would just challenge you as you're getting started is to really think about what you enjoy working. Like for me, I love the condos because I understand HOA. So I feel like I can teach my client something going through the process. But I also love first-time home buyers because at heart, I am a teacher. And so for me, I have really tried to cultivate that and figure out where I'm going to enjoy working. I have a family, so if I'm going to be away from my home, I want to enjoy what I'm doing. In February, I stepped in full-time into our director of operations role. And my previous career, I was in commercial property management. I mean, in shopping centers, offices, retail space. So I had centers that were comparable to your East Chase. And so I dealt with those property financials and tenants and vendors and all those things. So it was kind of a natural fit for me to fall into the director of operations role because I really understood the administrative transaction side. I actually set up the system we run on that. Katie, that's a whole other class if y'all want to dig into that at some point, and how we do our transaction coordination. In fact, I'm rolling out a new system pretty soon because we're kind of splitting up some tasks there. And then I went into a full-time buyer's agent position with them. My first 7 months, I closed 38 deals. And then as we've grown, and Tricia took on the operating principal position for our company, we realized that she was at max capacity and we needed someone else to step in and handle our expenses, our profit loss, and managing our people. I would say managing your human assets is the hardest component of any business. And so I've stepped into that role, and part of that is running our profit loss. That was very much part of my world when I was in commercial, because I did all of our financials for all the properties in my portfolio. So that kind of leads me to where we're at right now is I called Katie. So one of our teams here, which y'all are familiar with, which is the Global Homes Group, obviously stepped in and started doing stuff with the market center there in Montgomery. I know you all know Adam and Brett and Jeremy and all them, but I was talking to Brett one day and I had started doing a business development team here in our market center this year. So I have a group of agents voluntarily who me and another single agent that's been uber successful, we head up this team, and our goal in that team is to help our agents, whether they're on a team or they're an individual, is to actually get them into production and hit their personal goals, whether it's business, whether it's personal, whatever their goals are for the year. We want to give them the tools to be successful. And that's the thing I love about Keller Williams the most, is how much they pour into their people. And when your culture is right in your market center, we can all be successful. And I love that abundance mindset. That is so huge for who I am at my core. I believe in educating and teaching people, and let's all go make some money, right? That's what we're here for. That's what we work for. So I was talking to Britt one day and I said, hey, I'm working on some classes for our market center and things that I'm teaching our own agents on our team. Would you be interested in me bringing any of that to Montgomery? He's like, yeah, call Katie. And so Katie and I were talking, and I was telling her some of the things I teach here. I was like, what do y'all want to hear? And I had just gone through this with my business development group. The number one thing they requested was profit loss. They're like, we have no idea how to do this. We don't even know where to start. And the inner nerd in me, I'm a spreadsheet junkie. My team laughs at me because I get real excited when I get formulas right and my spreadsheets work. And I also lock them out of spreadsheets so they don't mess them up. So that's Katie. When I talked to her, she's like, yes, profit loss. That's it. We have a lot of new agents, people getting in, or maybe even have the goal of building your own team. So I've got several tools that I'm going to give y'all today Katie, I've got some more links I want to send you after we finish. But everything we're looking at today, Katie will have for you. It's a Google sheet. Make a copy. I'll show you how to do this. I don't know how tech savvy everybody is. Always have different levels of comfort when it comes to tech. But Katie's going to give you all these spreadsheets. You can make a copy and you can put this into use immediately for yourself. Okay. So, and if you have questions, feel free to email me or call me. You know, I've got formulas set up kind of based on some basics of our market center and basics of how some of our buyer agents work. So I'm going to start digging into that material now, unless there's anything else that y'all want to chat about real quick.
Cherie says, awesome, thanks so much. I know she's
Thanks
at her office, and so she can't really talk. So
that's all good. And I apologize. I have terrible lighting in here. I look very blue. I'm in one of our phone booths. We have 12 people crammed in one room right now. Hi, Cherie. We're about to get a little more office space, but if I was in there, it's like Wall Street. Some days. So I'm going to get my screen set up here where I can hop into our spreadsheet. So how many of you have a way of tracking your expenses? Like, what are y'all currently doing, or are you even thinking about that? Because I know some of y'all are brand new. 2 days, couple months. Have y'all thought about how, or have you set up a separate LLC or anything for your businesses?
I do have an LLC. I'm not good about keeping everything straight.
Okay.
I have just a very simple spreadsheet set up. Just, you know, this is what I spend, this is what I spend, this is what I spend.
Okay.
So
I'm going to give you something that will make your accountant very happy today.
oh, good.
Okay.
She needs to be happy with me.
Yeah, we all want our CPA happy with us, right? This spreadsheet that I'm showing y'all today, what we use at the end of the year when I'm doing my taxes, this is what I send to my CPA for them to get started. And he can go in and work all his magic, and then he calls and tells me a very painful number that I have to send a check to somebody. So, but this spreadsheet is exactly what I send him because it's got a couple of layers to it, and then obviously along with my 1099s or W-2s, whatever you're functioning off of. So anybody else, LLCs, or how are you tracking your expenses?
This is Vicky. I have my LLC set up, and I know this is going to be very helpful to me because I am a receipt girl. I keep receipts by the month and kind of reconcile with my bank statements.
Love it. You're going to love this. If you could
to Delana, I want to say we've got for our business meeting next week a CPA that's actually Shacarol's best friend is going to join us, talking to us about how to incorporate, how to be an LLC, what you should do. So for those of you that are not, but are going, "Ooh, maybe did I miss something?" You haven't missed anything. We're going to also walk through that as well.
I encourage all of you that are on this call today to do that class and get your LLC set up. One, it's going to be dependent on, of course, take the counsel of your CPA. When I did this, it saved me about 11% on my business side. That's a huge chunk for me. So your LLC is not going to cost you too much to set up. And what I do is I take all of my commission checks. When they come in, they immediately go into my LLC account. That becomes my operating account. And then I have some other accounts. I'm not going to dig into all this because you get these materials through so many other classes. But, you know, we hear Gene Rivers or just different people talk about like the buckets, like where to put your money. So everything goes into that LLC account, and then I split it out accordingly. I have an account for my taxes, and I even have some calculations in here for estimates. Everybody's taxes are going to be a little bit different. We'll talk about that in a second. But set your accounts up off of that LLC so that when that money goes in, you can immediately go ahead and put it into these different buckets or different accounts. And then I also encourage you, keep up with your receipts. Just because you're doing it here, you still need that record and you need to file that, whether it's you're scanning it and saving it electronically. I literally keep a file on my desk and we put it into storage at the end of the year. But that's mainly because we have multiple people who do purchasing for us, and so they just have a specific location to drop that receipt. And then I go through at the end of the month and I pull all of our bank accounts, Amex, any of your credit cards that you're doing business spending, and then that between the 1st and the 5th of every month, my goal is for our P&L to be finished. So I do a personal P&L for my LLC, but then I do our P&L for the grade group as a whole. And that's my party, and we have to send that off to our coach, and he evaluates it. So definitely encourage you, catch that class, set up your LLC, do it from the beginning. It just keeps it clean, very, very clean. All right, so I'm going to start digging in. Everything I'm referencing, if you have not read the MREA, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, the red book that you see on everything right here, this is our, I hate to say this, don't say it lightly, but this is our real estate Bible. This is what we go to.
I love it. Everybody's holding their book up.
Yes, yes, I love it. So this is, I mean, this sits on my desk. This sits on Trisha's desk. If we don't know something or we're trying to figure out something, we reference this guide right here. Obviously, MREA 2 is supposed to be coming out. There's going to be some different percentages and things from what I'm talking about today. They've updated them. We just don't, I don't have that material yet. So when that new stuff comes out, you'll want to use it. But this right here is huge for us. This keeps us on course for our team, and it really helps us determine how we are structuring our budget, how we're structuring our people as well. So that's really important. But use this, get it if you don't have it. It's the guide. So everything I'm referencing today, like percentages and everything, are going to be in this book. If you have it, on page 157 is going to be where I'm referencing like our expense detail and percentages, okay? It's not a perfect science, but if you can get close to this, guys, you can make money, you can be profitable. But the main thing that you need to remember is you've got to hold your money accountable for results. You need to know where your money's going, how you're spending it, and are you getting a return on investment? Everything you're spending. I watch so many agents blow their money, and at the end of the year, when it's time to pay taxes, they're like, oh, I'm gonna have to postpone. I don't have money. I gotta go do some sales to pay my taxes. You should not live that way. You should plan. You are a professional business person. So treat this as a business. Your gross commission, your GCI, you shouldn't be spending all that. Part of that's for the government. And I promise the IRS will come in and get it. And so we don't want to do that. So what I'm giving you today is going to help position you to avoid feeling that crunch, feeling that stress of when those things come due. And then when you know where your money's going, you also can start quickly identifying where you're wasting money and what you need to cut. So I want to talk about that real quick. Going into, we've all been talking about shift, COVID-19. This is a reality that we are facing. Let me tell you, if you're just now getting into the business, this can be your best opportunity. Our team, we met every day over Zoom during all this. We're now back in the office. But we immediately, let's see, our office is shut down on, or everything started shutting down here on March 17th. We were in the middle of spring break. We had people traveling. But the first thing we did by Friday, Trisha and I sat down and we went over our P&L and we made dramatic cuts immediately. We even sat down with everyone on our team. I get real personal with my team members. We talk about their personal budgets. If they want to have those conversations, I help them. I want everyone on my team to be financially wealthy. Okay. I want them to be comfortable with whatever that definition is for their life. I can sit down with our admin. Hey, what are you and your husband doing to be prepared for this? Y'all need to immediately cut out Starbucks. You replace it. You eating out, whatever it is, what are y'all doing? And I got really personal with them on this conversation. Well, my admin, who's got 2 kids at home, she's not been with us that long, and I know their budget's tight. And she was kind of freaked out over it. I said, I'm not doing this to freak you out. I am doing this because 4 of us on this team went through the market crash of 2008. And we felt it really hard. I went through 3 rounds of layoffs and lost a pretty good bit of money. I was like, what we are doing is from experience. And we know that if you wait 30 to 60 days to cut this, you are too late. We don't know when it's going to hit your bank account. We don't know what that's going to look like. But if we start today, we can relieve some of that stress. So everyone on our team did this. So I'm going to challenge you now. What are you wasting money on? What can you cut? What can you replace? Now, if you're anything like we are in our market, we are still in a hot seller's market right now. Even in the pandemic, we've been dealing with multiple offer situations. I'm going to be tangled up in one this afternoon. My second one for this week, but we're still dealing with that. But at some point, that pendulum is going to shift and we're going to start moving into a buyer's market, right? Mm-hmm. You have this beautiful growth opportunity right now. And we kept saying this to our team. We're like, oh, this is where we plant our seeds. This is where we get our engine clean. This is where we plant our seeds. And a lot of agents who do just a couple deals a year or who aren't certain, they're going to start falling off. We don't want to see them go, but if they're going to go, I want the 3 deals that they did last year, right? Low-hanging fruit. If they're going to fall off, if they're going to put their license on hold, guess what? People still have to buy and sell, and it's those who are still working who get that sale. Don't be scared of that right now. Answer your phone. We've picked up more deals because agents are scared they've stuck their head in the sand. Some of these other brokerages, they have shoved their head in the sand. There is nothing going on. And guess who is answering their phone? We are. We are on track to have our best June ever. And we thought June was going to be like us hitting a brick wall. 2 months ago, that's what we thought. We thought June, July are going to be our hardest hit month, and right now we're on track to have our best June ever. So it's that mindset. So just think about your expenses, where you're cutting. We went into where are we spending lead gen. Our team is successful, so we try and treat our agents well. We stock a cooler full of their favorite drinks. All that went away. It's going away for at least 60 more days because we are just padding our accounts to make sure we're prepared. At this very moment, everyone on our team has a job for 6 months if we don't close another deal, because we did our homework on our P&L and we watch our money. So if something happens, my admin, if we don't close another deal, she has a job for 6 months. We are taking care of that family. That is huge for us. And so I want y'all to be positioned that way as well.
And to Delana, I want to say, like, for the larger picture, Delana's sharing what's going on at the Gray Group and KW Tuscaloosa, and I'm sure you guys can see, those of you that have been here with our office, but if you look at the large real estate companies too, you'll see the headlines, they're cutting, they're cutting, they're cutting. Keller Williams Realty is not doing that. And the reason is they value red light, green light, watching the money, leading with revenue, making sure everything is in alignment. And from day one COVID hit, those shift calls started happening and the whole company realigned to protect the business. And so that's what you guys have to do too. Exactly. It's going to trickle down on every level.
Well, and don't let that scare you. Us making these cuts in our budget are meant for us to be healthy and to strive through this. And our people are the most important thing for us. And so by us cutting that, we are not cutting anything that creates profit for us.
Right.
But we are monitoring where we're spending money on our profit generators or our lead gen sources. We are constantly evaluating, and we have truly flip-flopped our money. So okay, I'm going to say a really dirty word right here, and I apologize. We are one of the teams that spend money for internet leads. We spend money with Zillow. We are one of the top converting teams, okay? I realize that does not make sense for everyone, okay? And I'm not telling you to spend money there for everyone, but it's like our third generator of money for our team. So for us, we were watching that, but then we took and we realized with COVID-19, our lead sources, we look at our lead source for every single deal. So we can track where every deal is coming from. And I encourage you to do that as well. But we moved a large pot of that money got moved to Facebook, because people have been at home and they're online and they're on Facebook. So we were literally week from week, the numbers that we were looking at, I was looking at how many active listings are in the market, how many new listings went on the market, how many pendings, how many closings for our West Alabama MLS, because I want to be able to speak percentages and I want to tell year over year. I want to educate my client that we haven't stopped. The picture just looks over. Well, then we also took and we looked at all of our lead sources. We had all of our agents telling us, where did these calls come from? Are you tracking it? Who are you talking to? Where did they come from? Because where they came from is where I want to spend my money, okay? So we literally moved a large chunk of our money into Facebook. We are also heading straight into Command. A lot of big teams aren't on Command yet. We're about to hire a coach to get us fully functioning, because we realize our CRM of choice that we are using right now, and this can be real painful for some of my agents, but we realize that we're spending about $1,800 a month on something we can get through Command. It is the human element. We got to figure out how to work it. We got to get comfortable. We got to get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? And so we're heading straight into Command. Our goal is in the next 90 to 120 days that we are fully in there, and that we take that $1,800 a month and we move it into what's creating money for us. Okay, so I'm going to challenge you on that. But let's jump in on this spreadsheet, our P&L. I can talk about lead gen, all that all day, but all of that is about us being profitable. All right, so what you're looking at, this is our P&L statement. This is a blank profit loss. This is what I'm sending a link to Katie to share with y'all. If you have questions, I do have formulas built out in here. So I challenge you to make a copy of this document and keep yourself a blank in case you need to go back to it. If you get in here and something doesn't, like you need a different calculation and you're not sure how to do it, shoot me an email, because I can usually hop in there and do it pretty quick or tell you what you need to do. I have it set up to where when you drop your expenses and you drop your income, it's going to automatically pull into this financial statement, okay? So this financial statement is going to be your big picture. Now, I had talked to Katie previously. I understood that a lot of y'all were individual agents. So I have taken out these calculations under the listing and buyer specialist. If you are a team or you're wanting to add those, feel free to reach out to me directly. Katie has my contact information, and I can get you plugged in on a spreadsheet that's going to pull this for you, okay? Because those are going to be important, because that's part of our cost of sales. So just some quick definitions of what we're looking at. This top income section here is our GCI. So this is our gross commission income. This is before we split monies with the company, before we pay royalties, before we pay our agents, okay? So as a team, we're looking at our whole big picture, but then we pull out money for what we're paying our agents. For you as an individual agent, you're wanting to see, is your money coming from listings? Is it coming from sales? Is it coming from referrals? Okay, So if you're an individual agent, this top line is going to help you identify where your largest source of revenue is coming from: buyers, sellers, referrals. Okay, I'm going to dig into how all this calculates in a minute. Cost of sales. So this is going to be how we pay the company. Katie, what kind of split? I've calculated this based on a 70-30 split.
Yeah.
That work? Okay. And then 6% towards royalty. This is not going to automatically, when you cap, you're going to have to go in and manually change a few things. But I'll show you that in a minute. But these are going to automatically calculate based on a 70-30 split and 6% towards royalty.
And does it have a place to put in the cap amount, Delana?
I do not have that in here,
Okay.
and that's what I'm going to talk about in a minute. When I show you how to put your income in, you might just have to do a little manual override on that, and I'll show you that in a second.
Okay.
I've pulled out the automatic calculations for buyer and listing specialist, and part of that we actually do on a different spreadsheet and pull the numbers in, but our splits are really, really wonky, so it's a little bit easier for us to get it. And then referrals paid out. So if you received a referral from an agent in Georgia and you've got to pay them 25%, that's going to be part of my cost of sale because I've got to pay them, right? So this cost of sale is everything that you're paying out. So you're going to be able to see where you stand. This also takes a little heat off of your MCA because you can start tracking some of your caps on your own.
What? Susan, did you hear that? You're on the call.
Yeah, you help your MCA out. If there's anybody in your company you want to take good care of, it's your MCA. She pays you. She makes sure you get paid quickly. You do what you're supposed to do. You get all your compliance documents in. You take good care of your MCA and your admins. That's our.
Don't worry about the
first thing
TL. They're fine.
Well, they out recruiting. No, for us, that's Nathan, Liz, Morgan. Those are our three that we take really good care of because they do so much behind the scenes, and I feel like they don't get the credit they deserve a lot of times. So take care of those folks. All right, so that's your cost of sale. We're digging that for a minute. In just a minute, but then the gross profit. So this is before your expenses. Your gross profit is before expenses. I want to challenge y'all to really think in terms of your net. Okay, I want y'all to think in terms of what kind of money am I making on your net? Because the reality is your gross, you still got to pay a lot of people. You got to pay your expenses, and I want to challenge y'all. And this is something that we've seen Gary Keller kind of shift on stage as well, that people like Brian Gubernick, Jason Abrams have really challenged them to, before they put people on stage, they're actually starting to ask to see their profit loss. And they want to see what kind of money they're netting, not what they're grossing. They want to know that they are truly wealth builders. And so, that's something we had an opportunity to have some calls with Brian Gubernick and Jason Abrams. We've built really good relationships there, and I love that they really think in terms of net, because that's what you take home at the end of the day. That's where you're going to build your wealth for your family. So I'm going to challenge y'all to do that as well. All right, operating expenses. You can build this out into as many categories as you want. I've got this broken down into our basic categories. These are the categories we use. If you want to expand this, if you want to change it, I'm going to actually let y'all look at a little bit of our profit loss, and I'm going to show you how I do it. But we've got our salaries, lead generation, occupancy. So these are going to be like your guest fees, anything that you're paying to the market center. Technology, phone, supplies for your office, education and dues, equipment. So that would be like if you're buying a new computer for an admin or for yourself. Auto insurance. Now, I'm going to let y'all talk to your attorneys or your CPAs on how you want to do your auto. I think all of us do mileage instead of, it kind of comes out better. I think you've got some triggers there for audits as well. So I'm going to encourage you to talk to the CPA about that. And what's best for you and your business. Professional services. So this is where we pay our accountants. This is where if we pay an attorney to do anything, it's coming out of that professional service category. Now, if you look in MREA, they don't have that professional service category. That's something we've added because we do have an accountant, or we've got an accountant and attorney that we use pretty frequently and have to pay. And then other, that would just be kind of your catch-all for things that you might want to change that to client gifts or marketing. However, I would strongly encourage have good conversations with your CPA to maximize your tax write-offs. And I think every CPA kind of has a little different input on this, but your client closing gifts. If you just go and buy a closing gift, you can only write off, I think it's like $25. But if it's branded, meaning your logo is somewhere on there, it can be on the back of a cutting board, or they talk about Cutco knives and the branding, you can actually write all that off. So I think you need to evaluate what's best for you and how you want to service your clients on that, and figure out what category you want that to go in. So this next line is going to be your business profit. So that's your GCI less your expenses. And then other income, we do keep up with, these are going to be below the line. If you want to do this for your personal, you can kind of throw some other things in these categories. But profit share, if you are not out recruiting, you are missing an income opportunity.
Wait, say that louder for the people in the back.
If you are not recruiting for Keller Williams, if you believe in this business model, you should be recruiting. You should be bringing people into your downline. This is the easiest money you will make in this business. I'm working on building mine. And it pays for, it goes into a separate account. I'm about to start putting an account for a college fund for my daughter, but I've been paying off some things, and I don't even have to deposit money into that account because my downline takes care of it for me. They're paying 2 or 3 bills for me right now, and I don't even have to touch it. So this is where we keep track of our profit share. And then other, so like for us, other is Trisha she gets certain income from the market center as an OP, like a salary deal, so we track it here. I track some other income that I have. If you want to look at this as kind of a combo of your LLC, and if you have rental properties, this is also where you can track that income so that you can see all of your net worth, okay? So you determine what's going to go into that other category for you, okay? And then other expenses. So I have this set up to automatically calculate some taxes at 30%. Everybody's is going to be a little bit different. Mine is lower than that because of my husband's career. So my personal P&L, I have it calculating close to what I actually have to pay out each year. So y'all can adjust that as needed, but I have it set up to auto calculate to 30%. And that would be that 30% is the number you're going to look at and move into a savings account. So that in the end of the year, when it's time to pay taxes, you've got that money sitting there. If you're not sure, put that 30% aside, and hey, you might have a tax refund. It's just not coming from the IRS, it's coming from your bank account. If you overcalculate, it's better to overcalculate than undercalculate.
Amen.
Your net income. So that's your true profit. And this is where you find money for investment opportunities. This is how you pay your bills, etc. So we're going to dig into this a little bit more, but everything is going to feed to this front page, okay, this financial statement. If you're ever going to do an investment and somebody asks for a P&L, let's say you wanted to open like a boutique business or something, and that landlord was asking for a P&L, this is what they want to see, okay? But this is going to tell you where your money's going. All right, so we're going to jump into expenses. I got this all nice and color-coded. You can change it as needed, but if you have salary, so what's your first hire supposed to be? Anybody?
For those of you holding up the MREA, you should be the one answering.
Admin.
Go ahead, Gerald Davis. Gold
Yes.
star.
So your admin should be your first hire. We did this a little out of order. Don't tell Gary. We had Trisha and Jason had a rock star that Jason worked with in property management, and they quickly identified him as a lead buyer's agent. I also challenge you to think in terms of talent. If you have a wonderful experience with a bank teller or a server, you need to be thinking about talent hires, not just a warm body. Who is somebody that can bring in and build your business? When something is missing in your business, so for you individual agents, when you get to a certain level that you're not providing the customer service you should be providing to your clients, you're not missing a what. You're missing a who. You are missing a person. And so we did that a little out of order, but mainly because they had identified a talent and brought him in. He is currently our lead buyer's agent, and he closed 152 sides himself last year. And he has an assistant. Okay, so that hire has been very profitable for the Grays. And then we have the next hire was an admin. And we've gone through a few admins, and admins are probably one of our harder hires. And that's a whole other conversation. But salaries, if you are an individual agent and your goal is to build a team or to build your business as an individual, you need to start planning for that hire. So if you're not currently paying a salary to somebody, you need to have a goal of saving a set amount, about 3 months worth of a salary for that position. So if an admin in your market is going to cost you $30,000 a year, you need to start putting aside a little bit of that money each month. Okay, so I challenge you to put that in salaries and have you a little off account. That's a bucket for you for a hire. And try and have about 3 months of salary put aside for that person before you make that hire if you can. You want that cushion, okay? And this is where you can do that. But so we got salaries, our lead gen, but what's cool about this is, let's say we're gonna pay Katie, sorry, I got all caps on here. Let's say we're gonna pay Katie. I also put like my check numbers in here. So we're gonna pay her with a check, and we're gonna pay her $1,500. When I do this, and then I'll put in some lead gen, let's go with Facebook. I do a different, I don't just pile all of it together. I actually track each line item when I'm looking at our bills, so I can kind of see, and our marketing keeps up with some more, but what Facebook ad were we running? Was it for a house in the towns? Was it for a particular agent for us to highlight them? Because we want to see which ones pull the most activity so that we can see our return on that. But let's just say I'm going to drop some money in here. But what's happening here, when you drop in these line items, it is automatically pulling over here into your financial statement. So you should not have to drop any numbers into your financial statement, okay? On this front page, you're actually doing it on these back tabs, okay? So you'll drop that in. They're broken out. They just run through the months. If you want to change the name of these, you can. You can make it whatever you choose. I'm going to hop over to our profit loss real quick because I want you to see a couple months filled in. And you can see it's auto-populating in here. But these are our expense categories. Jump over here. So you can see, that's kind of small. Is that small on your screen?
Yeah.
Is that better?
That's better. Mm-hmm.
So we can see like our cost to sell. We pay our agents bonuses if they have certain activities. You can see like our lead gen in here. And you can also see months like February for us is always like our expenses take the hardest hit because we travel to family reunion. Okay. But you can see in here where we're spending dollars. All of this is calculating, and all of this, like you see our totals, all of that is actually pulling over into our financial statement in here. What's cool about this, to help you with the MREA model, when I'm looking at this category, which we underspend in a few, and these are not perfect numbers, but they are our guide. And this is on your spreadsheet. This is going to be on your blank spreadsheet. I actually have our percentages calculating over here. So I can look at what we're spending in different categories and see if we're on track with our MREA model based on our GCI. Okay, so this is where we play red light, green light for us. So I can look at this and I can determine, like, one of the conversations we're having right now is that we really need an additional staff member. We're getting ready to do an expansion into Huntsville. We already have our agent, but we're about to have to support that role on a whole new level. And so we've been kind of cushioning for a new hire. And so we are under on our salaries because we're getting ready to make a move, which is going to be a growth opportunity for us. But we use these percentages to kind of see and to guide us in our MREA as to how we are doing. Are we healthy? Are we on track? Are we doing a good job? And two, one of our goals is to eventually be on a big stage with Gary Keller. And I hear that he's asking for our profit losses before he'll let us up there. So he's going to look at this. That's our goal. That's our dream, is to do that. And so we look at this frequently. And then at the end of each month, so between the 1st and 5th is when I'm doing this, I turn this into our coach and I turn it into Trisha. And then Trisha and I meet every single week and we evaluate where we're at on these. Where do we need to spend more money? Where do we need to scale back? One of the big things we saw that we were spending money on recently was our signage. We were just running and grabbing signs as we needed them from a local printer, and we weren't ordering in bulk. And so we were kind of chasing our tail a little bit. And so we have a storage room, and we went in, organized our storage room, and we set up minimum requirements for each sign. And then so we have a runner. I mean, you're a runner, right? So when you see that, well, I know that I've got 5 listings in my pipeline, they're coming, but I only have 1 writer. Well, when you go to make that order, shop a couple of printers and see who's going to give you the best rate. And also, if you order 5 or 10, is it a better value for you? And go ahead and bulk order if you're positioned to do so. I realize just getting started, you may not be positioned to do that. I think that's a goal for you. So we try and do some more bulk ordering to offset our expenses. If it saves me $1 or $2 per sign, at the end of the day, those signs are going to get used. Sometimes they get trashed. The city's really bad about just throwing them away when we put them in a right of way. So I want to protect that expense category. And that's one of the things that we saw was happening, was we weren't controlling that inventory. Well, now we're getting a little hold on that. But your sheets are going to automatically calculate these categories for you, so you can see where you align with the MREA. Okay, do y'all have any questions on that?
Yes, Delana, I do.
Okay.
When you're talking about the lead gen, like on Facebook,
Yep.
now you said that you all check it weekly.
Well, we have been during the coronavirus. So typically that's really something that we probably look at a little more on a monthly or quarterly basis typically. But with everything going on with the coronavirus, we've had that very volatile market, and we've had just very different activity. So we have been looking at that each week. And we're kind of moving away from that because at the moment, but we've been watching that because we want to know this week, do we need to shift it? So we've gotten a little bit more of a micro activity going on right now. I would say when the market's a little more steady, you need to look at it once a month. And a great time to do that is when you're actually doing your profit loss.
Okay.
And I'll show you real quick. This is not anything I've provided y'all, but I'll show you this real fast. Because this is how we do an agent report. And then I'm getting into the weeds here a little bit, Katie, so if I need to kind of
You're
shift.
good. You're fine. This is a
So we
learning
have-
opportunity for everybody, so we appreciate it.
And if we want to, like, y'all get with Katie, if you want me to dig in on one of these other little sidebars, let me know and we can. So we actually have by the week all of our agents on here and how many contacts they're making. The way we all use the same definition, okay? So a contact for us is a two-way communication, whether it's verbal, text, social media, okay? If we got a two-way communication, then that's a contact for us. We track our buyer appointments and we track our listing appointments. Now, our buyer appointments are higher than what you're going to be on a list, like an individual agent. You want to focus on getting the listings. And we've switched a little bit more. Our buyers agents can take listings and we co-list them with our rainmakers. But we want to track buyers and listings because we want to see where we need to shift our business as needed based on our goals. So we've increased our listing goals this year because we knew we were going to hit a shifting market soon and you need those listings. Contracts written. Now, by the way, a buyer appointment and a listing appointment, the way we categorize those is it's a first time meeting. If you meet with a buyer 5 times, we only track it once on here because that's a new person, okay? Because we found our coach, he's like, we kind of shifted gears. We used to track every time we meet someone, but it was throwing our conversion rates off.
Yeah, a new appointment. It's that new appointment. So that's where you're going
It's
to
a
try.
brand new appointment. So like last year we might have 5 or 6 on here, and this year we have like 2, but that's a new person. It's a new meeting. And then we do our contracts written. We actually do that once we're under contract, not offers. How many contracts we go pending.
Accepted.
Yes,
Not
it
written.
has to be accepted, fully executed. We don't count it. And then listings taken, we actually don't count that until we put it in MLS. So even if we get the listing signed and they've got work to do, we track it so that it runs with our MLS report. So we don't put it on our spreadsheet until then. And then once they go under contract, we track, this is what our transaction coordinators work on. I'm working on a brand new system. But we keep up with our lead source on here. And then I track that in our income so that I know where we're getting our leads from. And that's where we're really looking, Gerald, is where are they coming from? Is it our sphere? Is it Facebook? And then this number right here is where we determine to spend our money. Okay, does that kind of answer that question? I went off on a tangent there.
Well, Delana, to go further in the tangent, how many ads would you say you guys run monthly right now?
I would be perfectly honest. I would have to ask our my marketing director.
Just throw a number out there.
So we
2, 5,
run.
how many?
I really can't even put a number on it. For every new listing we get, they get an ad. Every new listing we boost on Facebook. If it's a really good listing, meaning it's in one of our hot neighborhoods, we know we're going to get multiple offers, or it's a really cute house that we know people are going to click on, we spend $25 on that for that house. So every new listing automatically gets a social media ad, regardless. How we boost it is based on that house and the neighborhood, okay? We are big open house people. We do open houses. Obviously, that's a little bit messed up right now with thank you COVID-19, but we typically open houses every Sunday. We do open this up to other agents in our market center if they want to host our open houses. And we usually, it just kind of depends on your inventory and your seller's willingness to host one. And we boost those and pay $15 for those ads. So each open house, we'll spend, it's really 15 to 30. It kind of, again, it comes down to the house.
But you guys are, the point I'm making is you guys are constantly, as part of your system, is to
Yes.
advertise on Facebook. Are you
Yes.
guys doing it through Command, the campaigns?
We have recently switched to doing Command. I would say we went all in on our Command Facebook advertising last month.
Yeah, it's really cool to see those analytics and to know that
It's cheaper.
it's cheaper, and to know that
It's
all
cheaper.
of those leads are coming back into Command as well. And
Yes.
Facebook sees Command as one giant user, like Coca-Cola,
Mhm.
Nike, or something like that, opposed to
Yes.
individual business page.
Correct. And so we have went all in on our Command. We're running all of our social media campaigns through Command now. I would say we went 100% on that last month.
That's awesome. Okay, sorry.
No, you're fine. But what we found, like our average, this is insane, guys, because you have no idea how much money we've been paying for leads. We did the math on our Facebook leads, and it was costing us 43 cents a lead. That is a fraction of what we are paying for lead sources through Boomtown or Google or any of these other places. What we're doing right now is we are determining the quality of those leads versus the quality of our other ones. So when we say we track things, we are constantly looking at all elements of where our business is coming from, and we will shift that money based on the market and where that quality is coming from. So we're currently having all of our agents actually jot down notes, and we're asking them, okay, we ran a campaign on a house called Sunset Drive. It was like a 130 listing. So 130 in our market is almost impossible to get a cute house in that price range. And we got a ton of activity. But with that ad, we specifically told our agents, we're running this ad. Every call you get, document how good it was. You know, are we getting a potential sale? Like, is it 1 in 10 or is it 1 in 15? And then we kind of compare to other ads. So we're constantly looking at that. And I think you've got to have that business mindset. Don't just kind of willy-nilly. And I would also challenge you, if you're trying something new, you might need to try it for a few months. Like, give it a little time. You need to be consistent. And what works for me may not work for you. My personality, I love doing open houses. I can convert in an open house. But some of my other agents, they should not be wasting their Sunday afternoon doing an open house. A, they hate it. And B, they're not good at converting. So you need to look at your own conversion and what you're enjoying doing. So that's how we're tracking that lead source. That's where we're determining where to put our money on that. Okay, I'm gonna jump back over our P&L. So this is where you're gonna drop all your expenses in, is on this expense category. It's as easy as plug and play. You're dropping where it's going and how much. We do have a miscellaneous category. This would be, you know, if we have a business lunch or whatever, we track who's, you know, is it Trisha, is it Jason, is it me? And then we'll put in like what it's for. Was it a buyer agent meeting? Was it a recruiting appointment? Like, one of my goals is like 1 to 2 recruiting appointments a week with agents outside of our market center. So we would keep up with that as well. For us, we've got some additional, we need to do some subcategories. We're at a point where we need to get a little more micro. But this is a big picture. This is an easy way to get started if you don't have something. It's the easiest one. So I'm going to jump over to income real quick. So there's another tab for your income. This is going to be where you might have to do a little manual work on some of these. But I have, I'm looking at January here, but you have a listing GCI, you've got sales, so that would be your buyers, and then I have a referral. So remember, this referral is an income, okay? So what I can do is I can put in, if I have a new listing on 123 Main Street, and it listed for 150,000, and my commission is 3%, it's going to automatically calculate this GCI. This is based on a 30% company dollar. This is your 6% royalty. If you have a referral, you're going to have to manually enter this. So if that listing came from a referral from an agent somewhere else, you might have to manually drop these numbers in, okay? And in that case, it'll throw you off a little bit. I did have it where it automatically calculated, but we do less referrals than we do when we don't have to. So you might have to plug some numbers in here into these individual sales. You can always do that off of your disbursement sheet. When you get your disbursement back, look at those numbers, and then you can just drop in what you're paying if you got a referral that you need to pay. If you do referrals, like if that's your base business, you can actually go in and you can shoot me a message. We can actually set this up to where you automatically calculate a referral, and then you just zero it out if a deal doesn't. Because some agents, that's their base business. Some of them, it's their top business. And referrals are a great way to get paid, and it's great giving out referrals because it's mailbox money. You didn't really have to work.
Right.
You get a check. So this would be here. So if you have listings, you're going to put it on this side. If you have buyers, you're dropping it in here. So we're going to sell 456 Elm Street, and we sold it for $225, and my commission's 3% on it. Again, it's going to automatically calculate for you. If you have a referral paid out, drop those numbers in, pull it off of your KW disbursement. And then the referral, this is actually referral received, okay? So this would be if you're getting that mailbox money and you're making money off of something. So let's say I just referred out my cousin, he lives in North Carolina, and let's say I'm gonna make $1,200 off of that. What this is gonna do on your financial statement is now it's pulling these numbers for me. So I can see how much money I made off of listings, how much I made off of my buyers, my referral money, and that's showing my gross income before expenses should be $12,450. And then it's gonna automatically pull out all my other stuff. And I can see that my net income after I paid taxes, after I paid for my lead gen, I paid a salary, that's the money I get to take home. Okay, it's pretty easy. It's really just plugging in numbers. If you do have an admin that you add, you can teach your admin how to do this and how to keep up with it. I did put in the basic percentages down here on the bottom, the MREA budget model. These are the basic percentages based off of MREA 1, okay? But it gives you just a quick reference. And this is if you're doing 6 million in gross, that would be your volume, basically. And that's if you want to make 180,000 a year. But this is just real quick. Again, that's on page 157. And then your definitions for all of these categories. If you are not a math person and you want to look at like the definitions of gross income, expense categories, net, all that good stuff, cost of sales, what gets in there, those are on pages 175 through like 177 of your MREA. So pretty easy plug and play here. You're going to want to make a copy of the one that Katie sends out, because that's a shared link so everybody can see it. So make sure you make a copy. If you're not sure how to do that in Google Docs, once you open that link from Katie, and if y'all have issues with that, it should be shareable.
Yeah.
If you have any issues, let me know.
It's going to be in our KW Montgomery Google folder that we put everything in. So I think I've already added it, or I set it up to add to that folder under the miscellaneous category.
Okay. So just go in here and do file and make a copy. Make yourself a copy. I'd make yourself a blank copy and then a working copy, just so you have one each year when you're starting the new year. You don't want to have to go in and clear all that data out. You can just have a blank spreadsheet saved there as well. So that really kind of wraps up the P&L part of this. Do y'all have questions or anything y'all need clarification on?
So let's see, so if I wanted a personal P&L, because I have my own LLC, but I also work with a team, could
What's
I
that look
give
like?
you the numbers to the
So
percentages and everything?
I
Or
actually, this is something I gotta send to Katie. I actually have a buyer agent model already set up. So Katie, this is the one I need to send you.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a buyer agent profit loss based on a 50% split.
Okay. Perfect.
So that's kind of a basic split that most teams do. If you want that specific, like if you have a different split, I can do one for you, or I can show you how. Let me show you how to do that real quick.
And
On your income tab, all you're gonna do is this GCI right here. This calculation, if you look up here, so I've got it where it's multiplying by 0.5, so 50%. So let's say that is a 45%. You just change it. My internet's being slow. It's just a matter of changing that calculation. It's pretty easy. And if you need me to, if you want one, I think I actually have a 45% split, or if it's different.
okay.
you know what, Delana, what I think I'm going to have you do is have a separate session with Rebecca's team, if we can schedule that sometime, because I think that would be extremely helpful to them.
Yeah, this is something that we started doing with our buyer agents, because one of the things that we want to do for anyone that we bring on a team, and for those of you who are individual agents and that's a goal, that goal might be a year from now, it might be 5 years from now, but just tuck this away, this little pearl. Everyone that we bring on our team, we have to have a certain dynamic. If their energy is wrong, it's going to bring the whole team down. And so we really think about our talent. That's our number one when we're hiring. That is our number one thing. Are they talented? And how is their attitude? Do they have the right attitude? Because if you got that, we can teach you how to do the business. And then for us bringing them on, it is also about what value do we bring to them. It's not just about our profit. It's about if their goal is to, I just want to take care of my family and I want to be able to put $5,000 in a savings account this year, and that's their aspiration. And for some of my admins, that's the case. Well, all right, how do we get you there? We have real personal one-to-one coaching sessions with these people, because we know that loyalty lies in taking care of our people. And so we have individual quarterly, Trisha and Jason sits down with everyone on our team quarterly. I would say I do staff meetings every week, and I have one-to-ones about every 2 weeks with my staff members. And then Jason meets with our buyers agents, but Trisha and Jason sit down with everyone on our team once a quarter. And they talk about goals and where are you. In fact, Trisha got on to me the other day, because one of my goals is I need to lose the baby weight. That's a personal goal, right? I don't want to talk about that with everybody. Actually, I'm a pretty open book. But she sat me down and she goes, hey, one of your goals on your 411 was you're supposed to be going to the gym 2 days a week, and you're not doing it. What's going on? Because I go to the same gym, so she knows when I'm not working out, which is sometimes bad. But she's like, you're not doing that. What's going on? And I was like, well, shifting gears and our schedules and blah, blah, blah. And she goes, all right, 2 days a week, you leave at 4 o'clock. You leave the office at 4 o'clock 2 days a week and you go. That's a personal goal. If you're not taking care of your personal goals, you're not helping us. And so I really challenge you to have that mindset with people you bring in. And then we teach them this. I started teaching all of our buyers agents the P&L. Now, whether or not they use it is up to them, but we give them the tools to do their own P&L. We have we have encouraged all of our agents to have their own LLC. And I actually dig into this with them as much as they want so that they are building their business. And we remind them, just because you're on a team, it's still your business. You still set your schedule, you still set your goals. For some of our people, it's, for me, I want to be home between 6 and 8:30. I don't want to answer my phone. My kid gets 100% of my attention during that time, and that's what I do. My phone goes off. And so everybody's goal is different. But if you set yourself up, whether you're on a team, if you're thinking about having a team, if you keep that at the center and heart of your goals and you take care of your people, our lead buyer's agent could go do his own thing and he knows it. But he chooses to stay with us because of how well we take care of him and how well we support him. And that makes us profitable. So take care of your people.
That's a win-win.
Yep. Is there anything else y'all need? I really appreciate y'all let me visit. I hate that I couldn't come down see y'all in person.
We'll have you down. Don't you worry, Delana. We might come all up to see you.
Come on, we're back in the office this week. So,
Hey,
I really appreciate y'all. Let me know what else you need.
yeah, let me hear some ahas while we're on this call. What have y'all heard Delana talking about?
It's really, I mean, to an extent, is very simple to do if you have all the tools, because like what you've got, I don't have to think, because I was sitting there and I was like, this goes here, there you go. And, you know, it only takes a minute. And yeah.
Well, a lot of times we have intentions of having these things, but we don't necessarily, and successful agents don't either, have the system. So this is a tool, and to incorporate this system into your business and treating it like a business, you're going to need a P&L.
Yes.
Yeah.
It really is. From everybody in our business development team, and most of them are individual agents, what I was hearing was trying to tackle this was scary. And it was just because they didn't know or they didn't have a tool. And so when I gave them the spreadsheet, they're like, oh, this is easy. Now, I did some of the work for them on the front end, but they literally just have to drop the data in. And then they know. And it's funny how some of them did it and they're like, oh my gosh, do you know how much money I'm spending on this? And they immediately change that behavior.
Right. Who else has an aha?
This is something, like I said, we've all been talking about, but it really gives us no excuse. Like you said, at the end of the year, when it comes to our CPAs, and we have no excuse not to be being financially stable with it. We have no excuse. This is excellent for the ones of us that have just started. We have, once again, we talk about foundation. We have a strong foundation.
Exactly. All right. Well, if no one else has anything to add, Delana, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you. Thank you.
You're so welcome. I'll send you the buyer agent link as well. And then if there's anything else, or if any of you want an adjusted sheet, shoot me your your percentages, and I can drop that in for you.
Thank you so much, Delana.
You're so welcome. Bye. Thanks for having me.